Good afternoon, Marine. If you would tell me your name.
I'm Charles D. Goddard, known in the Marine Corps as Charlie Dog.
Well, Charlie Dog, where are you from?
I'm from Oklahoma originally. I guess still from Oklahoma.
You're still from Oklahoma, okay. When did you serve in MASS-3?
I served in Vietnam from April 1967 to May 1968.
Okay. Where were you stationed?
Well, I was stationed at Chu Lai, and later on I moved to Da Nang, and then I had detachments up at Dong Ha, and then I had the final ploy of setting up the ASRAT and the DASC at Khe Sanh.
Okay. And other than setting up the, what was your job? What was your everyday job there?
Well, I started off at Chu Lai, and I was scheduled to become their operations officer, but they have a pretty strict training regimen, and so it took me a month to be qualified as a senior air director for the DASC and a qualified strike controller for the TPQ-10. And only after I got those qualifications, which took me about a month, was I appointed the operations officer, which relieved my predecessor, Des Brown, who was an aviator, and he had come with the squadron from Santa Ana, but he was a flyer, and he had gotten the control group commander to agree that if they could find a suitable replacement, he could be transferred to a flying squadron that was there in Vietnam, and so it happened.
So he was real glad to see you.
He was glad to see me, and he was hoping I could get qualified.
What did you like about your service in MASS-3?
Well, we were getting to do something. When I first reported in, I had never been in a MASS squadron. I had been in the air control squadrons, and I had been in the Hawk missile bunch a lot. And in fact, Colonel Proudfoot was the director of our 3 squadrons operations, and he initially said, "I'm going to send you to the Hawk Battalion." And I said, "Colonel Proudfoot, I don't really anticipate much of a attack from the North Vietnamese Air Force." And I said, "I don't want to just watch Hawk missiles and polish them and make sure they're operational each morning. I want to do something." And the colonel looked at me, and his operations chief leaned over and whispered in his ear, and suddenly he looked up at me and he said, "Have you ever been in a MASS squadron?" And I said, "No, sir, but I'm a fast learner." And he sort of chuckled, and the next day I reported into MASS-3 down at Chu Lai. And I had just attended Colonel Proudfoot's funeral when I was coming out for this reunion. I was able to stop by 29 Palms and attend his funeral just last Saturday. But he's the one who let me go, and I still thank him for it.
We're very sad about the loss, but we're very glad that you got to serve in MASS-3. We see you have a map. Can you tell us something about your map?
Well, I came into Chu Lai, and there were 2 MASS squadrons in country. MASS-2 was the first in, and they began to, as actions increased up along the DMZ, they had to move. They had to start moving their equipment from Da Nang up to Dong Ha, which was right just below the DMZ. As a result, Chu Lai assets, we took an ASRAT from Quang Nai, and we transferred it up to Dong Ha to assist MASS-2 in that effort. And I, as the operations officer, had to go up real quick, make arrangements, decide where we could put in the equipment, so I got to go up. And then we put them in operation, and I came back to July, and then activities increased, and all of a sudden they said for MASS-3 down at July to start taking over the facilities at Da Nang, formerly held by MASS-2. And in fact, I and my team that I brought up occupied billets right in the MASS-2 headquarters, because their administrative headquarters stayed, but their operational units started moving up north. And so I lived amongst the sister squadron for the rest of the tour. And as events progressed, the caisson thing came up, or began to rear its head. And because I was close to the Marine Wing headquarters, they held a conference and they sort of said, we need someone to start reconning the whole area up around Caisson to see if we can put in a DASC and an ASRAD. And I was the one who was selected to do that recon, and I did it in December. And they heloed me into Caisson, and when I looked out at the tents and the rows, the camp looked perfect. It looked like a resort. And in fact, it was known amongst the people. The little known secret of the Marine Corps is the rest spa in Vietnam is Caisson. And as I looked out, I wished I had brought a camera because it looked so neat and clean. But anyway, I landed. I conferred with representatives of the 26 Marines. They said, they said this area is clear, and they showed me the clear areas where I could put in the things. At the same time then, I took a road trip out of Caisson back to Dong Ho because I had to sort of check, can we get vehicles into Caisson for logistics purposes? And as a result, I go back and report that it is feasible, but I said our supplies may end up having to go to, may have to go by air. As a result, when the call came, we did put in an ASRAT, and I went up, picked the exact spot, gave them the coordinates, saw the equipment coming in, and then I flew back or coptered back to Da Nang, and 3 days later they told me to get up a DASC in there, and so we heloaded it in on the 21st of January. And I was there until the 29th of February, and I was the personal representative of General Anderson. And General Anderson said, you are my personal representative, and you do what you have to do. He kept his word. I could simply say, I'm General Anderson's representative, and people did what I wanted. And it was an interesting time, and I'm sorry I don't have time to go into more details. So I want to thank, though, Agro, Story, Machado, Flo, all those people who prepared me, having never been in the MASS squadron. They really prepared me quickly, and they did a good job, and I hope I did as good.
Thank you,
you.
Marine.